Wow, I can't get over how effective these lures are. It's got that triple rolling action, just like rolling shad, but the fish are much faster. These fish are in an aggressive mindset here, and they are just slamming. Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's really there.
Jump.
Oh, no, he's trying.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, man, look at that. That's like picking up that 7-10 split. He's right between the anchor and that. That's fantastic. I like it. Oh, no. We've done that once already. Why do you catch all the big ones? Is it skill? I think it's skill.
Nice.
Whoa, look at that.
Man.
Oh, you got the luck of the draw today.
Ask Reed.
Collins Lake, baby. Man, oh man. I think, Howdy, trout anglers. Welcome back to the channel. I want to talk about bait fishing for trout today. I came up with a very innovative leader. At least I think it's innovative, and it's a real problem solver for me. You hear the generators in the background, power outage, day 900, or at least it seems like day 900. I think it's been 10 days. Fingers crossed I'm gonna get my power back today. But here's the situation with the trout bait. Picture us, we're out at the lake, we're either on the shore, we're on a boat, and we're fishing floating baits like power bait, inflated worms, marshmallows, whatever. Something that's gonna float up off the bottom of a lake or reservoir. And we're using our standard rig. Main line comes down from the rod, it goes through some sort of sinker, either a bullet weight or an egg weight. There's a bead, there's a swivel, there's about 20 inches of 8-pound test fluorocarbon leader material, and we've got it hooked, tipped with a hook, just like these number 8 red octopus hooks right here. Here's some of my pre-tied leaders. So that works great. It's basically a Carolina rig. You put power bait on the hook, you cast it out, the power bait floats up vertical, trout comes by and messes with it, eats the bait, you give them line, they swim away, they swallow it, fish on, everybody's happy. What if you want to fish 2 baits on 1 rod? That's a little bit wonky when you're doing it with floating baits. I've had my main line come down to one of those 3-way swivels, and you have, you know, 1 bait on this eye of the swivel and 1 bait on that eye of the swivel, and that works okay. They tend to get tangled. It's a little wonky. I've also taken a standard leader and, you know, using a Palomar knot, I put a second hook in line in that leader. That's a little wonky too. It works, but it doesn't work that great. Well, I was sitting out in a boat the other day trying to get a bite, thinking things over about, you know, bait fishing for trout, and I came up with this solution to fishing 2 baits. Super simple. Here's how we do it. So you've got your standard leaders, just like I show you to tie them. They're tied up. I've got them on the pool floaty. I'm gonna take 2 leaders off here. We're gonna call this one here leader number 1. Let me unroll this real fast. So there is leader number 1. This is the one we're going to tie directly to the swivel at the end of our main line, or snap it on the snap directly at the end of our main line. This is going to be the highest hook in the water column. So I'm going to hook this one. Actually, I'll hook it down at this end to avoid tangles. So that's hook number 1, leader number 1. Here comes leader number 2, okay? This is going to be the second hook. Both of these hooks are attached to the end of a piece of 8-pound test fluorocarbon leader material via a Palomar knot. Very simple stuff. Now this one, leader number 2, it's the same length as leader number 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this one down a little bit. I'm going to at least cut it in half. So we'll shorten that up. Whoa. I guess that scissors isn't very sharp. So we'll cut that in half. And I'll put this back into floaty now for safekeeping, because first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on leader number 1. So let me set that down right there. I'm back. So here's leader number 1. I tie these extra long because I'm going to put a loop in the bottom end of that. So it's probably 30 inches long right now. So I'm going to come down I don't know, 12 or 14 inches on this leader. And here's what I'm gonna do. Actually, I'm gonna maybe go 10 or 12 inches. I'm gonna say that's 10 or 12 inches right there, right to my fingers, okay? Now, I'm just gonna go like this. I'm gonna get closer to the camera here. I'm just gonna start an overhand knot, okay? And I'm gonna keep it in place right there. Pull a little slack here. So I've got a good sized loop there. And I'm just gonna pass the back end of that leader through there, say 4 times. So that was 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's 4 or 5 times through there. Now I'm simply gonna start to draw that down, kind of adjust it to where I want it on the leader, where I want that second hook to originate from. And right now, when I really draw it down, I'm gonna wet the leader. Probably isn't a problem since it's raining out here, but there we go. I've drawn that down. That's gonna be the point where the second leader starts. Now, you see that knot right there? Here's what I'm gonna do. Let me get the second leader. Oh, that's really in that floaty. Good, there we go. Here's leader number 2, okay? So I'm gonna find the knot that I just put in the first leader right there. And I'm gonna go to the non-hook side of that, okay? The hook's over here, I'm gonna go below that in relation to the hook, right in here. And it doesn't really matter where I do it as long as I'm below that knot, okay? Because that knot is gonna act as my stop. So I'm gonna take out just a little bit of that leader length right there. I'm gonna match these 2 pieces of leader up. I'm gonna form that same loop that I just made in the first leader, that same type of knot, except I'm gonna do it over leader number 1, okay? So there's 1 wrap, 2, 3, 4, and we'll go 5. Now I'm gonna draw this down. I'm gonna draw it down just like that. Put a little moisture on it, get a little tension, grab that tag end. So there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna trim that tag end off. I'm gonna leave maybe 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. And I'm gonna trim it off right there. Now watch this. Now that second leader right there, it's tied over the first leader, so I'm just gonna simply slide it until it jams against that knot right there. I'm gonna go down to the bottom end of the leader. I'm gonna tie on a loop so I can attach this to my swivel or to my snap. So just a simple overhand knot right there. I formed a loop. Let me trim that tag end like so. And here's what we're left with. We've got a leader. It's got a loop in the bottom for attaching it to our main line using either a snap or a swivel. At the business end, we have 2 independent hooks. There's leader number 2 with its hook. There's leader number 1 with its hook. We have 2 hooks on 1 leader, and we are ready to float 2 baits up off the bottom, okay? We can vary the distance between those 2 baits by the length of leader number 2 and by where we put that knot in leader number 1, the knot that acts as a stop. But that's my new method for tying a 2-hook bait fishing leader for either lake or reservoir trout. You can dial it into your own needs, you know, as far as how far apart you want the hooks, how far off the bottom you want them floating. And in terms of what you bait those up with, sky's the limit. You could use 2 balls of power bait, maybe the same color, maybe different colors. You could use power bait on 1 hook, a marshmallow on the other. You could use an inflated worm on the top hook, power bait on the second hook. It's up to your imagination, but this is a very simple, very effective way to arm your rod with 2 hooks when you're out fishing floating baits for trout. I hope that gives you something to think about the next time you're out on the water chasing trout. If you're looking for trout gear, you know where to go. FishHuntShoot.com. Please let me get my power back. I'm Cal Kellogg, guys. Thanks a lot.